Welcome to episode 17 of the Prosiliency podcast. On this episode, we talk about the admin from the Equifax hack, the fallout from that event, and what you can do to protect yourself. We also peer into the crystal ball and envision a new critical role for IT. Ready? Let's do it.
It's time for the Prosiliency podcast, aka DR in a Bar. Now, without further ado, here are your heart-stomping, pants-dropping, history-making, earthquaking, love-making, and booty-shaking hosts, Vince Vaughn and Eddie Perez.
Thank you, Anna the Prize Girl. Welcome again to episode 17 now. 17, Eddie.
That's almost a record.
It's a record for us, for sure. Episode 17 of the Prosiliency podcast, aka DR in a Bar. I am your host, Vince Vaughn, and along with me is my co-host, my hetero life mate, Eddie Perez. Say hello, Eddie.
Hello, world.
Oh, very good. We don't want to screw things up by doing anything different. You know
No, we don't want to change it.
Where are we at, Eddie?
We're at the Brick House on Martini Corner in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah. So we're at 31st Street, Martini Corner, Kansas City, Missouri, the Brick House Tavern, man.
And we're here because, a shout out that Anna the Prize Girl, as she introduced us, she got hurt.
She underwent knee surgery, and so she's recuperating, as it were, at home.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully is she still giving away prizes, though?
I don't think she's ever given away. It's so funny. People have been calling out Anna, saying, why do you call her Anna the Prize Girl when she doesn't give away any prizes? Which is a fair point.
Well, so. My wife said I'm a great prize.
You are, sir. You are a prize, without a doubt.
She doesn't listen to the podcast. So she doesn't even know what a podcast is. And that's totally serious. So anybody who knows her, trust me, she doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Well, the next time I see Gloria, I'm going to ask her if she knows what a podcast is. I won't be surprised at the no answer.
Yeah, you won't be.
Very good. So we need to make sure that we start. We got to give away something at some point. I'll tell you what. On our 20th episode, let's think of a contest we can do for our 20th episode.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll give away something.
Yeah. If anybody has any suggestions, right? Anything cool, out of the ordinary, different, right? Let's do it.
You know what? I have an EX2000, an Exagrid 2 terabyte backup target that I can absolutely. Let me talk to Exagrid, see if I can give it away.
There you go. We can sponsor episode 20.
I like it.
There you go.
I like it.
We're just selling ourselves, man. We're just.
For sure we are.
Actually, we're giving it away, so.
So we're here at the Brick House Tavern.
Yeah.
We ordered two things. Number one, the beer I'm trying. Remember, Eddie's trying food now, and I'm testing beer.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying the Stockyards Stocktoberfest, and Eddie is trying the Aloha burger.
Right.
So the Aloha burger. Why don't you read about what's in the Aloha burger?
Well, you got to go first this time. Remember, we have to rotate. But
I will.
The Aloha burger is a burger here: sliced pineapple, avocado, jalapenos, pepper jack cheese, barbecue sauce, lettuce, and on a sesame egg bun.
I tell you, that sounds pretty difficult to screw up.
Someone might have, because they had the Aloha burger. Yeah, Aloha means goodbye.
So they're running right now. All right, so I'm going to try the Stockyards Stocktoberfest. So the Stockyards Brewing Company is here in Kansas City. We have an area of town called the Stockyards, and it's on the West Bottoms, and it was dead for so long. The mob killed it, actually. There was a lot of bombings and kills and murders and stuff, and the garment.
That's where they also killed a bunch of cows.
And they did kill a lot of cows down there too. So the area got mobbed up. Nobody went there, but now there's a revitalization going on, and there's a Stockyards Brewing Company down there now. So let's give it a shot. So the Stockyards Stocktoberfest. That's good. That's a way milder beer than I anticipated. So it is kind of got a hint of like caramel in it.
Again, is it caramel or caramel?
I say caramel.
Okay.
It could be caramel though. I'm not particular about my caramel pronunciation. But this is a smooth beer. There's a cascade, as it were, from the first taste to the aftertaste. It's a beautiful thing. It's like a melody, actually.
Are you a commercial?
Beer.
Are you a commercial right now?
I do not own any stock in the Stocktoberfest beer brewing company.
You might have to.
But I tell you, this is a delightful beer, man.
Prosiliency rating?
The Prosiliency rating of this beer is, I gotta give it a 9, man. I love this beer. This might be the best beer I've had all year. I'm gonna give this a 9.357.
Damn.
This is the best beer I've had all year. It is fucking delicious, I gotta tell you.
Well, as you're chugging it right now, I guess so.
Man, that's good.
Well, let's go to what people actually care about in food, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
The hearts and minds of men are through the stomach.
That's one pathway.
No, that's the only pathway.
Okay. All right.
All right, so I'm gonna eat this bad boy. It's kind of messy, but it looks really
No,
good.
you're
I know.
missing
I'm getting a piece of pineapple, man.
Okay, man.
Dang, you're my mother. It's good.
Yeah, it's quite tasty, isn't it?
It is good. The meat was more of a medium well done, which I like my burgers.
Yeah.
The one thing that's weird is they call it the Aloha burger.
Yeah.
Now, it has jalapenos on it.
The jalapeno.
Jalapenos aren't in Hawaii.
I get it.
But anything they put pineapple on, they're always like, let's make it Hawaiian. You know, why
That is
couldn't it
so
have been?
true.
Why couldn't it have been a Mexican burger? Why couldn't it have been?
Yeah, you throw pineapple on.
Right. It could be, what's up, essay? It could be the essay burger.
You could totally do that.
The
with it.
essay burger with a hint of pineapple. So
Very
like
good.
this would be like, if I was eating this, I would have to be myself a Mexican wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and then I'd be eating this, and it tastes good. It's good. I wish the barbecue sauce, it's good. I don't know what type it is. I wish the barbecue sauce was more of a hot and spicy with it. If you're already gonna put a jalapeno, I think it would kind of give it on there. If not, you can go with
a kick.
another extra kick on top of it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you don't eat the jalapeno, if you miss it, you still have some heat.
Yeah.
But it is good. If I was going to give it the Prosiliency food scale, which we've come up with, way better than the burn-ins last time. I actually still have nightmares of that.
Yeah.
Thinking it's about an 8.67.
That's high. It's probably the best food you've had on the podcast.
No, because there's two. One was really bad, and one was good.
No,
so-
you had the grape thing.
Yeah. That was grape thing was good.
Yeah, it was good.
But this is more satisfying. That's more of an appetizer too.
For sure. So very good, man. Yeah, it's a mite tasty. I had it too, and I think it's delicious. All right, so, dude, it's
admin.
yeah. So a lot's happened since we last talked. I mean, shit, a lot happened when we did talk. We've had more natural disasters with Irma happen. We got Jose right behind it.
Jose, I know my people. It won't make it to the border. Trust me.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's like they want to attack their own people, right? But we also had the Equifax hack, which
Is it really hacking?
it's so true.
I mean, I know most people probably know what might have happened with the Equifax, and you can probably elaborate more in a second. But one thing that's been going around, which has been interesting, was showing you they've been going on the credentials of if you've seen that, the credentials of the CISO, the security officer, how her major was music.
What now?
Yes, her major was music.
The Equifax.
CISO, if you look it up, her education was music.
Oh my god.
And one of the comments that I saw was hilarious, and I'll probably butcher it, but the guy goes, so what it was like him talking to the lady and going, hey, so how did you know something was bad? Well, I was listening to it, and it was so harmonic, it sounded like everything was just fine.
Oh my god.
Because she's a music major. I was like, that's messed up. The reason why I bring this up is sometimes a lot of people are put into situations like they said the guy that used to do the interest rates, not the current guy who did interest rates for the federal government, or for the Fed, there was another guy who had the glasses. His education wasn't in finance; it was in something different. And they had like this list of all these famous people who had a different degree than where they currently are. That doesn't work for everything. Think about if you were a doctor, and you're like, "Well, I just went to the doctor yesterday." But he got his degree in computers or in something else other than what you're supposed to do. I mean, a lot of times people go into that field because they have a passion about that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this person isn't the smartest person in the world, the greatest security officer ever of all time, but when your username and password and you're not doing validation as admin, come on.
Yeah, so, the problem here, and we've talked about this before, is testing. Like, doing an assessment of your internal organization, your infrastructure, how quick can you recover? And these are questions like how quick you can recover, what is your measured SLA for RTOs and RPOs. Those types of things, in my mind, don't happen nearly enough. And this, a security assessment.
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
A security assessment doesn't happen nearly enough as far as I'm concerned either. People what is it about companies? Here it is. Here, I'm going to make an assessment myself. So I was about to ask, what is it about companies that think they're never going to be touched? That think they're never going to be hacked? That think they're never going to encounter some type of disaster? And they're kind of caught with their pants down when something happens. And I think the reason is because they're so driven operationally in the day-to-day, they don't think about the future. That's the only thing I can really think of that makes this Equifax hack plausible, not right. So to your point, the CISO is retiring, the Chief Information Officer is retiring, and
Retiring?
Absolutely.
Right, so they're over 65?
Yeah, not quite actually.
Let's say what it is. They're getting a severance package to leave.
For sure. Massachusetts Attorney General is, at least the rhetoric is, they're completely going after Equifax.
I mean, they were the big three, right? Them, TransUnion, and the other one?
So there's Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian are the big three.
And I usually pick the Equifax one, so I'm kind of worried. They got all my data.
Well, they did. I went and validated. My health insurance is through Anthem. They got hacked last year, so my ID was compromised. I found out during tax time. I anticipate my ID will be compromised again, assuming here's what everyone needs to do in 2018. They can't wait to file their taxes. They have to file their taxes as soon as the W-2 comes out, and that may be too late.
Right, because everyone's already got their information and they can validate all their data. One of the things that I was thinking about whenever you were saying, keep their pants down.
Pants down, but getting caught with their pants down.
Caught with their pants down.
Right.
When someone is caught with their pants down, do you ever hire someone to try to break into your house and see if you have security vulnerabilities at night?
I don't, but I have two-factor authentication to get into my home, and I live on the 4th floor.
But you see where I'm going at this, is that the reason why is that people don't test something until it actually happens or someone else. And we brought this up where
they're lulled into a false sense of security.
Right, and we all get pulled into that. But the difference is that I'm at home. If it's locked, I have a security system. We have all this stuff. I'm trying to be proactive. Sometimes I turn it off, but you don't have it on, right? Everyone does that.
Yeah.
But when you're a business and your job is to actually also protect that data, if you're a security guard and you fall asleep on the job, that's an issue. Are you making sure you're not having...
Especially if something happens while you're asleep.
Right, so does that mean you need to do in shifts? Do you not do it 12 hours, maybe 4 hours? With this, they might say, okay, when we're doing this, we're going to have the passwords. That password wasn't reset. The standard policy is usually every 6 months reset your password.
Yeah.
That was never done. And the one thing that's interesting is that all vendors, most, a lot of manufacturers, when you're setting up their system, by default, that password is not required to change.
Correct.
Because what happens is people are worried that, let's say that you don't log into it for 6 months, right?
Yeah.
And let's say that something happens to that employee, they leave.
Yeah.
Then they try to log in, they don't know that old password. It's just reset to something and locked them out.
So they have a back door, basically.
Right. And so that's where that vulnerability is. And also that's available in backup servers. So let's talk about from a resiliency standpoint. We talked about having your backups different login than your production storage. This is a great way of talking about it. They got in and got information. They didn't encrypt it. They didn't destroy it, that I understand, to restore it. This was more of a true breach, data breach hacking. What we got to realize is sometimes that could have hacked in the background. They could have actually hacked. Here's interesting. If they would have hacked the backup software, there's a lot easier ways to get rid of those logs than it is where they went. Right, trying to figure out what data they had. Right, they probably access the database. Databases have a lot of logs. Backup software sometimes are a little bit more forgiving and a lot easier to get access to. A lot of people don't really think about it. But I think that you got to make sure your production environment security, you need to make sure your backup environment is secure as well. And having that segregated might cost a little bit more, but how much money do you think it costs Equifax?
Oh, excellent point. But here's the thing. I don't think it actually costs a whole lot more.
No, sometimes people have budgets, but a lot of times the thing is that if you validate that it's an issue, right, segregating your network is key. I had a customer ask me, or a potential customer say, hey, should I have one switch or two? Should I just do VLAN? I go, I'd rather actually have separate switches because you know that you are physically segregated versus someone having access, changing your switch parameters, and then have access to the system. So there's a lot of things you got to start thinking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So segmenting your networks. That was one of the points you just made.
Good.
And having your backups in a different domain than, for instance, your other applications.
Right.
And the other thing is having a backup repository on even a completely different domain than the other parts of the network. What about using local service accounts to access the other services?
That is probably that's a secure way. The problem becomes the manageability. That's where it usually always comes down to, how do I manage all those individual service accounts for every single server instance?
Yeah.
And how do I have it documented to where all that information is stored? At some point, it has to end up somewhere, from that master key to unlock everything.
Right.
Right? And so a lot of times I think that is the hardest point, is you got to we are trying to make things simpler, but when things are simpler, you start putting
They're
yourself...
also simpler for the bad guys, too.
Right. And that's the key, is that a lot of times, before everybody knew how to... It was always like only a few people could do Linux or the cars or programming. Now anybody can use any program because a lot of it's automated. You can get through this stuff pretty easily. But truth be told, Equifax, if they knew that the username and password was admin, they didn't need to. I mean, like you said at the beginning, was it really a hack? When your username and password is admin, it actually wasn't really a hack. They probably were like, hey, admin, let's see what happens. Wait, it worked? What? What?
Yeah, why not try the low-hanging fruit first? And obviously that probably wasn't the only username and password, but that was one of them that would work.
Yeah.
And now, we talk about Prosiliency is a strategy you use to save jobs, lives, and money. People are losing their jobs right now, even as a result of this.
And if they take their identity, they took their life.
What do you mean?
Well, they take their life where, as an example, my cousin got his identity stolen, and this person went and committed a crime. He got pulled over, and they took him to jail because they thought he was the one that did it.
Good Lord.
So that happens every time he gets pulled over. He has a piece of paper that shows him and the guy that actually had it. They actually showed two photos of his same ID, but with someone else on there. So when someone else has, essentially, they lost. When you got your ID stolen, you essentially lost your life. Think about it.
For sure.
Virtually, you are someone different than who
Yeah.
you say you are.
Right.
And so that one thing, actually, we're able to get all three. Right?
Lives,
money, and
lives, and money. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, very good. So, so what do we take from this, Eddie? What's the?
I would say that leadership from the CIO and even CEO down needs to really look in the mirror and make sure that they do annual, or not even annual, monthly reports with their team to understand the state of the business, and making sure that everybody is on the same page from a security, from an application, from a backup, from a process. So everyone is on the same page. You do not have to know how everything works. You just have to know that it's getting taken care of.
So that's a great point. To me, a hack is a disaster.
Yes.
A hack is a disaster, and how are you going to recover from a hack?
True.
And also, here's the thing. I also don't want to hear that where the rubber meets the road, the guys in the trenches, the system engineers who know that there's a problem, I don't want to hear that they didn't do anything. So yeah, the CISO and the CIO are fired now, but I guarantee you there were some people on where the rubber meets the road that knew that admin worked, and they should be canned as well.
Yeah. What we have to realize is that there's probably going to be a new market, and I've been thinking about this, and a lot of times you'd have the backup engineer, you'd have the security engineer, right? You'd have those two different people. Usually, they might be the same person, but there's going to be a job where the person is designed as a true protecting of data. Security traditionally has always been network-based data access.
Yeah.
There's going to be a true.
Well, it's what do they have access to, and who has access?
Right. But I think there's going to be a new engineer that's going to come out. That's going to be, what is your current? How am I protecting and securing the data together?
The data protection engineer.
Yeah, but a true, when people say data protection,
Or
they
maybe
usually
even a
think of
data
backup.
protection architect.
Right, but a lot of times when you say data protection, you think backup.
You do.
But what I would think mostly is I was going with
resiliency architect.
That's what I was thinking.
There you
see,
go.
You weren't letting me get to it.
I'm sorry, brother.
I was how I was building it up.
All right, why don't you start again?
No, it's done. It's done. I don't like the way you think.
Resiliency architect. I love it.
The Prosiliency architect. Because think about it, it's business continuity and disaster recovery designed together. Remember how we said there's something that's missing. And the backup guy usually talks to the security guy.
Yeah.
Just telling you. There's always a secure guy who's doing it differently, and he doesn't know what the other guys are doing unless you're a one-man shop. But there's not a lot of one-man shops. There's a lot of multiple-man shops. So
I love it.
we started a new trend called the Prosiliency engineer.
Yes.
And the Prosiliency architect.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it, man.
Yeah.
This is
And we're giving away that for free.
No, we're not. We just haven't figured out a price yet for it.
True.
Very good, man. Well, listen, thank you for the 17th episode. I think this was really good. I think we inject a little piss and vinegar into this episode. I like it. And we look forward to our 18th episode, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks.
This has been a Passage Digital presentation. Remember to back that shit up.
If you like this podcast, there are plenty of ways you can support it. First, you may friend us on LinkedIn. Our profile links are in the show notes, or you may share it on other forms of social media or discuss it on your own blog or podcast. Second, we view this as your show, so contact us and ask us for a question we can use, or simply let us know how you feel, good or bad, on how we can improve it. Third, rate us in the app stores and leave us reviews. If you hate us, feel free to 1-star that shit. But remember, 5 stars give you total consciousness on your deathbed, so you have that going for you, which is nice. And lastly, please visit us on the web at prosiliency.com, prosiliency.com.